What is up guys, Kardak here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we're going over the Leviamon deck. So first off, I just want to tell you guys, I don't think Leviamon as itself, the build, is very strong, just because there's a lot stronger decks in the format right now. And I think Leviamon is best used as a tech in a Numismon build. But since you guys wanted to see a full-on Leviamon deck, here it is. So let's go over the Digitamas first. So we are running 4 Demi-Meramons here just for a little bit of cycling as well as some draws, and it's just helping you filter out for your more useful cards. This can be used for you can replace this with other Digitamas, but I think for this build, I think this is the best one just because you're not actually discarding that much. So the Sunamon is not as great in this build, but Demi-Meramon is pretty much always active as long as you're willing to crash it into something. Alright, so let's go over the level 6s. So we are running 4 of the Leviamon and 3 of the Leviamon X-Antibody. Leviamon X-Antibody skill is in the trash on all turns whenever opponent's Digimon or Tamer is played by an effect. One of your Leviamon or card with X-Antibody, this Digivolution source, can Digivolve into this without paying its cost. And this card has a base 2 security check, so it's pretty good. And on Digivolution, if your opponent has as many or more Digimon and Tamers as you, you can delete one of your opponent's Tamers and then delete one of your opponent's level 3, 5, and 7 Digimon. So very, very powerful removal. We're not going to run 4 of these just because they can be bricks in your hand, and most of the time you want to throw these in your trash anyway. But I think 3 is a good number. Additionally, we are running 2 Creepymon and 1 Leviamon. So for this build, we are moving away from the Belphegor engine just because we've been playing with that for the last set, for the EX set. And so I kind of want to play with the other Demon Lords just so it has a little bit more flavor. But yeah, we're running 2 Creepymon, and Creepymon's effect is when Digivolving, you can trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, and for each of your opponent's Digimon. And if you have 4 or more trashed cards by this effect, you can play a level 5 or lower purple Digimon without paying its cost. And on attacking, for every 10 cards in your trash, you can trash 3 cards from the top of your opponent's deck, and then you can get 3k. So most of the time you're going to be using this just to play another level 5 because our level 5s do have unplay abilities, so it's pretty good. And then getting that level 5 will help you set up for another Leviamon on evolution, or you can go into your other Demon Lords if you want. And Lilithmon is here just because it is Lilithmon, and we haven't played with Lilithmon in a long time. So having her here is pretty good. And we are playing quite a few options in this deck, so if you have a lot of the 7 cost or 8 cost options in your hand, you're pretty much reducing the costs for those by 2 if you're using Lilithmon. So it's pretty good. Being able to kill a big Digimon for 6 costs is very good in my eyes. And so we are running the 1 Tecton Leviamon, and it's also a Demon Lord, so you can always trash her for the option effect if you want. So that's pretty good. But obviously, if you want to run the Belphegor engine, you can always do that as well. But for now, we're experimenting with something different just because there is a new ban list coming up, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. But I think this lineup is pretty solid for now. So next, for the other level 5s, we are going to be running 4 Wado's Digimon. So all turns, whenever a opponent's Digimon is played by effect, all your opponent's Digimon gain. On deletion, lose 1 memory. And then when attacking, your opponent plays a level 4 or lower card from their trash, suspended without paying its cost, and you don't activate their own playability. So that's good to not give them their own playabilities. And this card will change that target. So inherit will be piercing. So this card is very useful in a lot of different situations just because you can proc the condition of your opponent playing a Digimon. So I think that's pretty good. And we also have 4 of the Dagomon. So Dagomon is from the old deck, so we're not going to go over it. But basically, this will also help you fulfill the condition of your opponent playing a Digimon. And it also gives you ability to play one of your own Digimon, except the unplayability will activate, so that's pretty good. So that's a pretty standard lineup. We were just playing the Leviamon stuff that we've gotten from EX5 and BT-15. And it's pretty much the same for the level 4s. We're running 4 of the Octomon, just so you can play something on their board. And we are playing the new Gesomon from BT-15. So on play, first off it has blocker, and on play and evolution, your opponent will trash a Digimon card from their hand. If they don't, you get 1 memory, which is okay, it's okay. And on your turn, when your opponent has no Digimon, this Digimon can't attack. So this card is mainly here just because it is part of the Leviamon lineup, and you can set up for them to have a Digimon in their trash. Of course, they might not always trash a level 3 or 4, so you might not be able to play it with your abilities later on. But and also it can potentially backfire on you in this current format because there are a lot of purple decks that want to trash their cards. So be careful when you're playing this card. But for this build, it is a fun build. So you're assuming you're playing with decks around the same power level. So I think it's okay for that. And the second ability for both of these is just being able to get 1 memory whenever your opponent plays a Digimon by an effect. So pretty good. Next, we're also playing Porcupopmon. So on play, you can trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Mainly, this is here for a blocker. It's a 4 cost to hard cast, so whenever you brick, at least it's only 4 cost. And having a blocker is nice. We also have Gesomon's blocker, but a lot of time you'll be using this to go into your level 5s. So Pokemon is here to help you do that. You can also run the Pokemon from BT-13 if you want, just to have a little bit more filtering. But I think this one's okay. Having a little bit of extra trash is nice to work with, especially for purple decks. And for the level 3s, we're running 4 Gizamon, 4 Salcomon, 2 Impmon, and 2 Psychmon. So lineup for the level 3s is a little bit hard, just because we want to run these because these are new cards these are cards for Leviamon, and they do synergize pretty well with it, just because this one does give your opponent cards -1 memory if they die, which is good, and the inherit skill also lets you get memory, so that is also pretty useful. But we also want Psychemon just because in case you are unluckily matched up with decks that do minus cost, this will help you that. And Imon is just here to help you grab back your Demon Lords whenever you need it. So Imon is pretty good for that. But these can also be swapped in for Gazimons if you're playing against players that like to play decks that gain memory back by Digimon effects or option effects. But this is the current lineup. It's a pretty standard lineup, I think. I think Psychemon is pretty much played in all decks now, just because there are too many decks with cost reduction. So next for the options, we are going to be running 4 of the Biting Crush. So we've been playing this in the old deck. I think this is a really good card. It can be a brick sometimes, so if you want to cut these down, you can, but I want to have this in my opening hand as often as possible, just because I do want to have that pressure on the board. And this is one of the cards that you'll be running in a Anubismon Leviamon hybrid build as well, just so you can have play the Psych game with them. And we are running 1 7th Lightning, so this is the new card that we got. So when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Leviamon X-Antibody, by returning this card from the bottom of the deck, you can delete one of your opponent's level 4 and level 6 Digimon. And during your main phase, by trashing 1 card from your hand, you can delete one of your opponent's level 4 and level 6 Digimon. So pretty good. I think Biting Crush is definitely the better card, just because because of that delay ability. It's bonkers. We're running 4, but this is also a nice effect that you can activate in the trash, which is why we're running one of these. A lot of times you won't be hard casting this, but if you need it, sometimes you might need it. But I think Biting Crush is definitely the way to go. And for the other options, we are running 2 of the Purple Memory Boost. You can definitely run training cards instead if you want, but since this deck actually does sometimes hard cast a level 6, hard cast level 5s and 4s, I think having just memory straight up is better, but it is costing one more. If you have a little bit on the board though, you can place for one memory, which is pretty good. If you have the training cards, you'll be playing those for 0, so that's also very good. But entirely up to you guys, but space is pretty tight for this deck, so you guys can kind of adjust it according to what you guys like. We're running one Calling from the Dark just so we can retrieve some useful cards that we need. I think this card is still really, really good. And if you don't want to run this card, you can run a training card if you want. And we're running one Mat just in case your opponent is very good at memory denying. We want to have this on the board just so we can kind of help ourselves up. But we're not going to run too many Tamers just because we want to keep our numbers low so we can take advantage of Leviamon's ability. So yeah, we're running one Mat and we're running one X-Antibody just because sometimes your level 5s can digivolve into the Leviamon with the ability. So I think it's pretty good. So running one though because we don't really have that many slots. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This deck. It is a more traditional Leviamon build. There are definitely more spicy decks out there, but if you guys just want to try out the engine for yourself, this is kind of the way to do it, just so you can maximize your chances of getting the Leviamon combo out. But definitely, I think, as I said before, Leviamon is best used as a tech in other decks, or some kind of counter for the current format. It's by itself, it is a little bit clunky if you're using the whole line, but I think it has potential. But just probably not in this format. And some of you are wondering why I'm not running X-Antibody. And that's because the balance is coming out soon, and I have a really good feeling that X-Antibody will get hit along with Garurumon X, just because those are the main engines for the Apocalypse line, and that deck is running pretty rampant right now. And it's just making purple too good. There's just too many purple decks in the format right now. So they're probably going to hit those cards. If they're not going to hit X-Antibody, then you guys can definitely put X-Antibody back in this deck. But this is just like a preemptive list because I don't want to put this list up and then a few days later be like, oh yeah, this list isn't working anymore because we're running banned cards. But hopefully none of the cards here will get hit because I don't think they're particularly powerful. Biting Crush is really strong, but I don't think it's worth getting hit right now. But I think the X-Antibody has just been too good for too long. A lot of purple decks are running it just because it's so good for just filtering your hand. And obviously Garuru X is just really good. It helps you set up your trash way too fast. So I think those two cards have really good chances of getting hit. But I could be wrong. What do you guys think? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this list test. So if you see comments down below also questioning why, you can help it out just by referring it back to this part of the video. I have my reasons for running certain things just because I also don't want to run the Garurumon engine in this deck because I think it's going to hit as well. So I think there are Leviamon builds that are running the Garurumon engine, so you can refer to that as well if you guys are interested and it's not hit yet as of the time you're watching this video. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Karotaku, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!